the root of all excellence.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for listening. Welcome to the Root of All Excellence.
Welcome.
So we have special guests today joining us. So we have Rashaad and Iris.
Hello.
All right. So how was your guys' week?
Week. It went by pretty fast. The only time goes by slow is when you're at work. Other than that, just
That's true. That's true.
Yep, you blink and it's over. On to the next one.
So are you guys on vacation or
Nah,
just not
working.
Working. Oh, okay. Nice. How was your week?
My week was pretty good. I mean, it definitely went faster than I thought it was going to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know what happened this week, but it definitely seemed like it was faster than other weeks.
Right. I feel like it was a fast week for me too.
Yeah.
All right. So I know this week came across with the Kanye White Lives Matter was a big topic on my social media, my timeline.
Yeah.
What about your guys's?
It's another publicity stunt out of Kanye to get some attention. That's all.
Yeah, you think he got something coming out?
Just trying to get out of those Gap deal and then the Adidas deal to try to come up with another venture.
That's a good perspective. I didn't even think about that.
Also, Candace Owens has a documentary on Black Lives Matters coming out.
Oh, she does?
Yeah.
So that's why she was side by side.
Yeah, I think that was kind of the I'm kind of trying to promote.
I see. Get her name out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good stunt. I mean, people were talking about him. I don't know that we were talking much about him with the Gap Adidas deal issue anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. All publicity is good publicity. That's where I really don't get down with Kanye and his antics.
Yeah, I mean, he does usually do something in order to get some attention when he got something coming up or coming out. That is kind of a tactic that he uses often, I think.
Right.
But I think with this one, it's a little bit reckless, I guess you would say, in terms of like the things that are trying to be said about Black Lives Matter and the importance of getting that attention versus the White Lives Matter and kind of making a mockery of everything.
You find this more controversial than him saying that Trump is his father figure?
Or slavery was a choice?
I mean, I think I do. Only because I think when he said like slavery was a choice, there was like a pause because it wasn't like we kind of understood him, but we know Kanye, so it could mean something else. People were trying to decide like whether to be offended or not. With this, I think it was clear or more clear that not only was you saying like white lives matter, like I'm a white person, but it was kind of a disrespect to Black Lives Matter.
I think it depends on how you want to look at that too. Because if you look at it from the standpoint of what the organization that stood up Black Lives Matter was doing, they kind of themselves put a bad rap on Black Lives Matter. So he could lean into that and say, all he's saying is, they didn't do anything for the people. They were self-serving and didn't really help push anything forward.
Right.
Outside of the slogan. So let's disfund the slogan and try to do something that actually impacts the culture. But again, I don't necessarily agree with that stance either. I just think it's a different way of looking at it.
Right. And it's crazy that you brought that up because I think that is the premise of the documentary that Candace Owens has coming out, is to kind of expose Black Lives Matter and some of the tactics they was using, and things they was doing like with the money, and kind of give us a more in-depth understanding of what this organization was about.
Yeah, but when we think of it holistically, of in general, do Black Lives Matter? We know that that is a big question in this country. And, you know, it's been proven time and time again that we don't.
Right.
So that's why, you know, I think that there's an uproar around everything when it comes to Kanye and his stance on that.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I think that, you know, Kanye kind of comes out and do these things often. I think what's going to happen is one day he's going to look up, because even though a lot of people have opinion on it, I don't think it's getting the same effect that some of the other things may have, right? So I think one day he's going to look up and we just not going to care about shit that he's doing or his opinion on anything.
You think that people are going to become numb to Kanye, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, after a while, I mean, you can only do this type of thing for so long before people just stop caring altogether.
Right. It's almost like he's trying to troll everybody, like in some form or fashion. He's just trying to get a reaction or just get some attention from whatever he's doing.
So you think Kanye will get canceled?
I'm not canceled, but we'll just move along from him. Like, you know,
It's not going to stand out as much.
right. It's not going to matter as much. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess you can get it while it's good, because in a little minute, he's not going to be as relevant as he is right now enough to matter.
Yeah, I think everyone loses their relevancy, but I think that this tactic that he's using to keep you relevant for longer than what normal people's time frame of relevancy is, because you're pissing people off. So it's not as simple as I'm just gonna ignore, you know, what he has going on. It's you want him to quiet, and you don't have a way to, you know, effectively do that unless you take some more extreme approaches. But I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if I agree with the fact that in 5 years, Kanye were to keep the same topic and say something like, I want to be a slave. If I would feel like it had any less significance then to what he's doing today has now, I think I would probably be just as upset. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. I think people are going to get desensitized if he keeps up with it. You know what I mean? Like, if he keeps doing this, doing that, doing this, doing that, people, I mean, you still may be relevant, but I don't think it's as attention grabbing as it is now. So I think at the beginning, people actually valued his opinion and what he thought and what he had to say. I think slowly we're getting away from that. Like, you're not even making sense and you're not representing, and you're not who we thought you were. You're definitely not college dropout Kanye anymore. Like, this isn't who we liked. This isn't who we love. Like, it's just a completely different person. And I don't know what he's got going on personally, or this whole transition that happened. I know he's going through some things, but I think it's just a lot. And then when you're an attention seeker like this, it just becomes annoying, and you kind of just get pushed to the side like, oh, he's looking for attention again, like the boy who cried wolf.
Like, this is could be the beginning of something different, because he doesn't have that big conglomerate with the Kardashians as well behind him. That's another, like, having them part of his crew or team helps as well
Mm-hmm.
with promoting and getting stuff like that more out there than there's been before.
Definitely.
This could be a new changing as well.
Right. So we just have to kind of see how this unfold. I mean, I know personally, he's making Chicago look crazy. So we just got to stay, you know what I'm saying, tuned in to whatever it is that he got going on. I'm personally, I'm just not really paying attention to it as much as I would have in the past.
Right. So
yeah, I think he has mental health here on display. What happens when someone's mental health takes a negative turn and they're not treated? And, it appears like, for him that he's attacking, his own race. But I think that mental health is something that, could create an environment where that makes sense for someone. So I'm not providing him an excuse for his behavior. I don't condone it in any way. But I think it's pretty clear that that's definitely a factor in what we're all witnessing.
Okay.
yeah, potentially. So have you guys seen the different videos for voting and kind of the targeting of Black community in terms of the voting campaigns?
I'm not personally on TikTok, so I haven't seen any videos about voting on TikTok.
Oh yes, okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, with Saucy Santana and
Yeah.
Trina.
who's the other person that was in there?
Yeah, Trina.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just more ways to get people to try to vote. It's a different way of thinking about it, I guess.
Yeah, I just don't know that it is. I mean, I understand that I'm not the target audience with this kind of videos, but there was that video, and then there was a get the booties to the pole.
Yeah.
Get the booties to the pole where there were strippers, and they were promoting voting, and they got your attention by being on a pole. So I don't know. I guess think I'm not their target audience, but I don't know what direction they're trying to go with this kind of, I guess you would say, ratchet propaganda, ratchet
Yeah, it's just I don't
promoting.
know. I don't even know how to feel about it. Like when I first seen the actual video, I thought it was like a KFC commercial. Like I swear to God, I thought it was a KFC commercial.
The booty one?
No. The
Oh, Trina.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So it's called No Vote,
No vucking.
No Vucking.
No voting, no vucking.
Meaning like, if you don't vote, we ain't gonna give you no ass. Clearly they're talking about dudes, right? To have like a, he promoting the bussy and she promoting, female for the straight guys, for the gay guys, right?
Uh-huh.
So my whole thing is like, so not only like they're not talking to the complete like, Black community.
Right.
They're just talking to a specific, they're talking to Black males, but a specific Black male, right? It seemed like they a little younger, maybe a generation under us. The new voters, right? Maybe the 18 to 25-year-olds.
Yeah.
This shit was like, I don't know how to feel about it. Like, this is terrible.
Hey, how did you feel about like 20 years ago when Puffy was out here with the Vote or Die campaign?
I'm not really sure because it wasn't this ratchet. Like Puffy was doing things. He was out here, the Vote or Die thing. He was out here trying to like get votes. Honestly, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I wasn't really paying attention 22 years ago. I was like 2004.
Yeah, almost 20 years ago. Yeah,
Yes,
that was just a different way of getting younger voters out there and
right. I mean,
that kind of rhetoric.
right. And I mean, I can understand. You know, it was the whole vote or die thing.
I personally think that it's okay to get creative and it's okay to target a specific or unique audience when you're trying to drive, a message of how important it is to vote to that particular audience, because we know that the younger audiences typically don't go out and vote. So I can see why they would try to target that particular audience.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that you guys said it was like a stripper on a pole, because that's like a play on words, and that's another way to get people's attention.
Right.
And because when you think of going to vote, you go into the polls.
Right. And that's kind of the whole part of it. Right. And I think they played that part within the video.
Yeah. So I think it's a unique approach. I'm not hating on it. I do think everyone needs to get out and vote. I mean, pick the better of the two evils. It may not be a candidate that you 100% support, but if they have more going on and can offer us more than what another candidate offers, then getting out there and taking that opportunity to put our voice into, who's going to be the next person to take office is an important step. So, yeah, I think everyone should be trying to get as creative as they can to get as many people out there, because we see what happens when we don't go out and vote and we don't use our voices, and the people that do get in, to higher places of authority, and the different laws that change and the different impacts to our day-to-day lives that we ended up facing. So I'm for it.
No, I understand. I think it's very important that we kind of participate within the political structure. My whole thing is like, if you actually see the video to no vote, no vucking, or if you see the video to get your booties to the poll, it's almost propaganda. It's like who do they think we are? Like, honestly. And I wouldn't have a problem with it if this was like a wide thing, right? Where they had country artists talking to their followers or their fans, right? But it seems like we only get made like a fool of. If you want them to come out and vote, let's sing and dance. Let's shake some ass. Let's be the worst part of the black culture in order to kind of reel these people in. It's literally a video called "No Vote, No Vucking." I can't believe that.
I hear where you're coming from, and it's ratchet as hell. I can agree with that, but you meet people where they at. Like, if this is where some of these people are, then you are going to target that audience and get their attention by offering them something that they can identify with or relate to. That's not for me, right? I'm not going on, I'm not on TikTok, like I said. So I haven't really seen it. So I will definitely add in a disclaimer that I'm speaking of something I haven't seen. But B, those people that are there and those people that are, ratchet, that speaks to them. And you want them to go out and vote. So I don't necessarily take offense to different approaches being used to target different audiences. I don't think that we can say that every artist is for everybody. So with the music that Santana puts out, that's in alignment with what you're saying, in my opinion. So I don't take offense to it, and I don't think it applies to me. But those artists that are out there, promoting voting, like say like a T.I. or some of the other parties that really get out there and try to push us to go vote, that I actually do listen to their different platforms, and they appeal to me in a different way. So I think that's how I look at it, is you're going to need people to appeal to each audience differently if you're trying to get their attention and share a message with them. It can't just be a clean way of you putting that message out there. But there are instances where those messages are put out there in a way that, appeals to someone like myself or you. So those are the ways that I would get that information.
Right. And I agree. Like, you said something that was like super dope. You said you meet people where they are, and I agree with that. Like, if you need the younger population to vote, you gotta go into whatever it is that they're into. I just don't see that across the board. Like, you don't see that with the Latino community. You don't see that with the white community. Them kind of pandering, right, to the worst part of the culture, right? Not necessarily, because I mean, there's young people who has nothing to do with ratchetness or nothing to do with, specifically what I would think is like the worst part of the entire culture, right? So to kind of pander and try to get that specific, like, that specific group demographic, try to get them to vote. I think in total, like, it just makes the entire black community look like fools. Even though I understand that they're targeting a certain demographic, it just makes the entire kind of culture look like fools.
I don't know. I think, I can respect your thoughts on that, but I disagree. I think that it's the same way that I would want something delivered to me in a clean fashion, and that's what I'm going to seek out, then that needs to be available to me. And representation matters. Like, if you are, for instance, a stripper or whatever, and you've never seen that be something that people have made or widely put, out there so that people understand this is normal too. This is something that I do for my day to day, and it doesn't mean that someone like me won't get out there and vote. I think that when we look at how Trump won office, he went out and he appealed to the white audience that nobody else was appealing to, and it made a difference in that election. So I am 100% open to creativity and trying to get people to vote who wouldn't necessarily typically get out there and vote and who don't feel that we appeal to them. I'm not taking offense as a black person to say, hey, why do you have to do it in that way? You're doing it in that way because you're trying to get their attention. That is something that they can identify with. And that doesn't mean that speaks for me personally as a black person. It's, so I think it's different ways of looking at it. But again, I can respect where you're coming from.
Okay. So let me ask this question. So, we see the Kanye shirt, and we see like different things like no vote, no fucking, and to get your booties to the poll. This kind of like thing go on within black society, right? Do you think that there's an agenda or propaganda within the targeting the black community in order to get us either riled up or kind of pivot us to a certain direction, if that makes sense?
I think every race has these problems. It's just that we only see it on our end because we are black.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, and I can agree with that because there were Mexicans who were out here parading and promoting Trump. Meanwhile, Trump is talking about this wall that he's gonna build, to keep Mexicans out, and he's got camps set up to send Mexicans back. And the same people, in some instances, who's parading around for him, they, uncle, grandma, cousin, was sent back to Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't never been in Mexico. So I think this happens in all communities. I think you hyper focus on the community that represents you.
Okay. So you think that when it comes to propaganda or kind of pivoting a certain race to in a certain direction, right? You think that everybody kind of has, every race is targeted.
Yeah, I do. I think that there's heightened propaganda in certain communities. So I'm not trying to say that in the Black community that there is not a heightened sense of propaganda, because there is. I will say that I don't necessarily 110% stay 100% focused on the Asian community and what they got going on, but there was a lot of press about, the Asian community and how they were being mistreated in this country, based off of COVID and just, other things. So I feel like, is there an agenda there that we're trying to promote their mistreatment over Black people's mistreatment, and try to make people more united when it comes to, ensuring that they're safe and they're protected over how we're safe and protected? Yeah, I feel like, there's different messages that are promoted out there, but I'm not in that community to speak to how that impacts me personally and what I take away from that. Because I bet you there's an Asian that would argue they just want us to shut up and stop talking about what's going on in their community. If they had an issue, they would bring it up. Because I don't see the Asians being the ones that are normally having those conversations. I see it being maybe someone white or maybe someone Black, in a news capacity, bringing those topics up. So I think you can say there's propaganda in all communities. I don't know the extent to which that propaganda is heightened for the others, because I'm hyper focused on Black propaganda and the information that's shared within our community.
Okay. All right.
Right. So with that, I feel like even in the propaganda or the discussions about what was going on with the Asian community and how they were being impacted, I feel like it was saying like Black people are targeting Asian communities specifically, and that way we're in a sense attacking them, I guess you would say. I guess to get that bill passed was Stop Asian Hate, but I don't feel like that was accurate. And I feel like maybe that goes to your point that I'm more focused on what's going on with the Black community. Because you can see like with the guy who threw the drink on the lady at the restaurant, or when the girl got shot in the head at the convenience store, like these were attacks on Black people by Asians, but it wasn't as focused on as the Asians that were getting beat up over COVID. But I don't see that on their side from their perspective, what they're seeing. So I guess it goes to your point, like there is some things that happen where I can focus on the other side of it, the Black side of it, the Black perspective of it, as opposed to knowing the Asian perspective of it and what was really going on in their minds.
Yeah, no, I think that's true. And then I would even say, even with that, there's definitely instances of white people who attacked Asians. There's instances of Mexicans who attacked Asians. There's instances of just about everybody who, at some point has attacked another group. I mean, to me, a hugely targeted group that we don't ever really focus on, as at least from my vantage point of information that I'm actually seeing regularly, is the Native American community. And they're facing things every day. But, my attention is on things that are towards the Black community. That's the media that I follow. That's the media that I chase. So I think part of it is it's on me that I don't have that, collective view of society. Part of it's on our news channels and what they filter out and push out to us, which is pretty much the definition of propaganda.
Right.
But I just think it's tough unless you're someone who's, out there really fishing for information. That's kind of what you fall into.
Whatever it is that you're watching and whatever propaganda you're being fed regularly. So is there anything like in terms of like the propaganda or the targeting or anything like that you do find questionable or offensive, or you feel like it just all kind of is an even playing field across different cultures, different races, and it just is part of like the American way?
Yeah, it's just a shock value to try to get you to vote. I mean, there's plenty of things that they can go and tell you about, whether it's the right for abortion or Roe versus Wade, or trying to scare more scare tactics in ways of like canceling what Medicare and Social Security, inflation, gas prices being raised, critical race theory. Like there are so many different ways to try to scare you into voting.
Right. So just like, but I feel like that's more so like on the area of the actual things that are going to be on the ballot, right? The actual things of interest that are going to be coming up based on like the mid-year election and decisions that are going to be being made soon, like in different states and different local governments, as opposed to like just go vote and just vote for whatever you want to vote for, but just go vote.
Right. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know. I just, when I see things like this, I don't know. I don't know what to think. I don't know what to expect. I don't know what to see, like what's next, right? If we can have strippers shaking their ass, talking about get that booty to the pole, yes, it is creative, but what is the next level of advertisement are they going to use in order to get these younger voters to kind of come out? Like, what's next?
I guess it depends on what they're into, right?
Right.
Whatever the hot topic is for that generation.
Okay.
P-Valley is pretty popular right now.
Yeah, and it's scary.
I like it.
That shit is scary, man. But I mean, Booty to the Pole was a while back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I just brought it kind of up because this new no voting, no fucking kind of thing kind of reminded me of that.
Oh, okay.
Like what? Wait a minute. Okay, I understand that y'all want the votes. You should want the votes.
Right.
What level are you willing to take this shit to get these votes?
But I think he's just popular. Saucy Santana's just popular right now too, because he was on some award show.
Definitely.
And I mean, he's a popular guy, entertaining.
Right. And then Trina is Trina, so
classic.
Right. Mm-hmm. So I mean, yeah. I mean, I get it. You want the proper influencers to be able to kind of get the message to whoever the target audience is. I get that. It's just whoa, you know. I don't know how to feel about this. I'm offended.
Are you?
Highly.
You sound very conservative.
Oh my God, I'm offended. I'm offended, man. The last time I'm offended like when Mary J did the chicken commercial.
Oh.
I was offended.
Yeah.
So I mean, and I don't get offended that often. Not like this.
No,
I don't get offended that often. Not like this. So I was offended, man. Yeah.
I think everyone's entitled to their limit. So, for you, sounds like that was a hard limit, and something that you personally wouldn't like represented that way to you.
Yeah.
So I get that. And, that's something, again, that people should respect. And then on the other hand, that there's the other people who that appeals to. So I think you go as far as you have to go to get the votes that you need to get. I don't think there is a line.
I don't know. I think it should be when it comes to advertising.
I don't necessarily think that it should be.
Yo.
I think that if there's a whole bunch of people out here watching porn and you want to get more votes, it may behoove you to appeal to those people watching porn.
So you do a porno or?
But my thing is,
I don't know if you do a skit, a porn skit or something like that to get people, to see, oh, we got to go vote or whatever. And then they get to their thing. I don't know.
I think it has to be a limit, man. and I'm not even against promoting certain things, right? I'm not even against it. But obviously, I feel this would have never happened. They're not doing this for Asians. They're not doing this for Hispanic or Latino. They're not doing this for nobody else. If it was across the board, I'd be like, hey, man, you listen, they doing what they doing.
But what would they,
my whole thing is when you literally is only doing this and if it's only us, then I don't know. I feel like everybody else laughing.
But I just said, again, I disagree. I feel like the community that's targeting is not just Black people. No, I feel like there's multiple races that are looped in there that would apply to.
I don't know.
Because when you watch some of these shows and things like that about the stripper community and all of that, it's not just Black people stripping. It's multiple groups. So I think if you put that TikTok out there, you're not just appealing to Black people. I didn't see it, so I am speaking blindly, but I know that it would target an age, but it would also target, people that can relate to that lifestyle or to whatever that movement is that's occurring or happening. And that's not just Black people. I think if you see someone who's over it or whatever, and they're Black, a lot of times we take them, to represent us, and that may just not be the case. I don't look at an artist like Santana or an artist like Lizzo as only targeting the Black community. I feel like those particular artists target a span of communities, and that's in any message that they're putting out there. They want people to have fun, and they want people, to be okay with being who they are. That's pretty much the messages that they typically put out there. So I think when they put, a video like this about voting, it's not a joke on Black people. I wouldn't, personally take offense to it because I know their audience is bigger than Black people.
I'm not sure with the Saucy Santana artist.
110%. His stadiums are not just filled with Black gay boys. His stadiums are filled with white girls, white boys, Black girls, Black boys.
But specifically, the gay community.
It's a happy community. I think that people don't realize how big the ally community is within the gay community. So it's not the gay community isn't just full of gay people. I mean, there's allies within that community.
Hold up. I want to agree with you. To some extent, but it just didn't sound right coming out.
So she's saying like it's not just gay people; it's also the gay supporting people.
Oh, definitely.
That are at the concert.
Definitely, and I think but
And I don't think that a gay supporter is just a black woman or a white woman for a gay man. I don't believe that. That's a factual statement. I do believe that there are black straight men who would support a gay black artist, and I wonder what the issue would be there, and why a black male wouldn't be comfortable. A black heterosexual male would not be comfortable supporting a bisexual or a gay black male.
you know any
they're all right. They're all right to me. I mean, I don't have any problem. Like, whatever makes you happy, live your life.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I feel like I don't have a problem. I have a problem. I mean, in most cases, it don't have nothing to do with me. So, like, yeah, just do you, But as far as like the support aspect of it, I just find it very hard for me to support something I don't quite all the way understand.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, but back to like the problem.
Do you support it? Would you go to a gay man concert?
Yeah, but I've been to gay weddings before. It doesn't bother me.
But I think that was the point that I was trying to make.
I mean,
is that there are, black heterosexual males who aren't necessarily in that uncomfortable space to where they would support a gay black man. And if Santana's putting out, his ad or his promotion for whatever it may be, it could target that audience as well.
Agreed. But let me ask, like, do you think that the overall message have a negative connotation when it comes to black people as a whole, whether you're gay, straight, whatever?
I'd have to see what the other races are doing on their TikTok feeds to talk to their different demographic, or I don't know how to say, like a different
their constituent.
Yeah.
Okay. So the negative connotation towards black people is dependent on if it's across the board or not.
I'm not taking it as a negative connotation, though. I think that's where we're not on the same page. I don't feel like it's negative if this is what a particular audience wants. Like, I think that's just, it is what it is. We're in a time where there is no there's no sensory. Like, when I was a child and I was coming up, you weren't necessarily watching things, or depending on how sheltered you were, you weren't watching things where people cussed or people had sex, or, those things weren't widely available if you were to just turn on the TV and watch a show.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's available. That's out there. So I think if we're looking at it, from a perspective of, is it like disrespectful to black people, or is it negative? How is it negative if this is your lifestyle? And that's what I'm appealing to. I'm appealing to the people whose lifestyle is it.
So you feel like because it's their lifestyle, it shouldn't be shunned or considered negative because it's their lifestyle.
Yeah, I feel like that's what we're doing. We're in a part of society where you need to bring your authentic self.
Right.
And I want to appeal to your authentic self. This is what your authentic self consists of.
Yeah.
This is the best way for me to meet you where you are.
Yeah.
Then I'm doing that. That doesn't necessarily mean that I'm being negative towards the black community. I think it's the assumption, the undertone of what you're saying is that by him making that video, he's speaking to all Black people, and this is the only way that they're going to try to appeal to us to vote. That's the undertone of what I'm hearing, and I don't find that to be factual.
No.
There are multiple other avenues or venues where they appeal to Black voters that are not on TikTok and that are not being presented by Santana. But if you are going to look at a message presented by Santana, you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
That's his point.
I wasn't saying like I mean I don't know. I understand that the intention is to just get people to vote, right? So I don't think it's negative because they're trying to get people to vote, right? My whole thing is the way that they're pandering, right? It's a million other ways that you could have done the same thing, but they didn't do those things. They chose to strictly go after a certain aspect of our community in which I don't think it shows this community in the best light, if that makes sense.
It makes sense what you're saying, but I think we're just on different sides of that because they're appealing to who they want to appeal to. And that doesn't mean that holistically as a Black person that they're trying to make you feel uncomfortable or that they're trying to make you feel like you're not important or they're trying to make you feel like this is a representation of what you all are as Black people. No, this is a message specifically for these particular people. And that's why it's being delivered in this particular way. And if it's not something that you personally can identify with, then you just keep scrolling. I mean, I feel like we're really at a time where, you
choose what you want to watch.
Yeah, you have
your own channel.
You have a whole bunch of freedom to find the information that you want to find and not feel offended by what's true or what speaks to certain people. Like, so I don't know. I don't think I can align on that.
Okay.
Definitely white influencers or Arabic influencers that are out there. We don't know who they are, but I'm pretty sure they get them to go out there and vote the same way.
I don't know. I mean, I just haven't seen representation of it. I mean, but you definitely could be right. I could be wrong when it comes to this like advertisement. It could be across the board. I'm just not paying attention to it. But I'm just saying I haven't seen anybody else kind of be targeted like in this way.
But I think it's targeting.
And I think like if we look at the Indian people, for instance, and I'm talking about people from India, they would target them in a Bollywood fashion. That's not something that appeals to me. That's not something that I'm checking for that I would necessarily, want to see. But it's not offending me either because it ain't for me. So they appeal to people based off of, what their interests are. And it's not necessarily for all people because I know some Indian friends that would identify with a Bollywood themed advertisement, but I know a whole bunch of other Indian friends who they don't care about Bollywood the same way I don't care about Bollywood. So I wouldn't say that they sit back and they get offended by Wolf, or maybe they do. Maybe that's what you're trying to point out. They get offended by the fact that why does everything that's coming my way got to be Bollywood, or whatever. But I think that points back to the fact that it happens in every nationality. I mean, every Asian person doesn't necessarily like sushi, but maybe you've got someone eating sushi when you're telling them to go out and vote. So I don't necessarily, I don't know. Okay. I don't necessarily think that I get or can align with your point because I know that's a part of marketing. That's a part of advertising is that if you want to hit a certain group, you've got to appeal to that group's interest.
Yeah.
And that's what they did.
Okay. I mean, like I said, I just haven't seen it equally across the board.
I think that this particular video, so they created a music video, no voting, no fucking. I think that's specifically directed towards a certain demographic of ratchets. So they're going to create ratchet advertisement for ratchets.
Right.
And it's going to work. Maybe. It might work. But it may get their attention, right?
I mean,
so
if you ratchet, I don't know if it's something like this, it'll be like, yeah, let me go vote now.
Right, but the whole point is to get the attention.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily like you're going to go vote, right?
Right.
Because come whatever the voting day is, what is it, the 8th, the 6th, November
8th.
It might be raining that day, so people might not want to go to the polls. Or you might not have registered, so you kind of just out of luck by the time you see the video.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know that anybody's really holding anybody accountable for no voting, no fucking. Like, I haven't heard that conversation to determine if that's going to happen ever in life. But it may appeal to that demographic and that audience, and that's the audience that they're targeting.
Okay.
So I know that it's not for me. It doesn't. I'm not the audience. I'm definitely not the target of this campaign advertisement. So I can't really. I mean, it's a miss for me. But I think there's a hypersensitivity to this type of thing only because of the campaigning that happened with COVID and trying to get the message out with COVID to the Black community in the different ways. So you had like the Vax That Ass Up with Juvenile. You had the older people not wanting to get vaccinated or whatnot, and just kind of the different commercials that I was privy to, like even just on the radio or that were more targeted towards Black people. And it kind of leads the hypersensitivity now that there's a voting music video where it's more targeted using hip hop as opposed to any other genre of music.
I think what I've seen is when it comes to them promoting to Black people, they promote what they think we are. There's no way you get a Vax That Ass Up in any other community.
But I think that's where the hypersensitivity comes in at, is because there's a pattern, right? So it's not just that it's this video.
Right.
It's that there's a pattern of promoting to the Black community or in a way that feels targeted to the Black community.
But I wonder though if you're missing the mark here, because are you listening to Gayle King when she promotes going out to vote? Are you listening to Candy Burris when she's promoting to go out and vote? Like, it depends on who you're listening to.
Right.
These people are appealing to people that touches. I know for a fact that whole thing with the Hot Boys and that song, the way that video played out, it just, it was kind of distasteful, but it definitely has people speaking about it. So it's very similar to that Kanye tactic. This is a marketing thing. You got to get people's attention. And so when you come at people straight, a lot of times people are not listening to that. So you come at them with something that is controversial, that gets their attention, and whether it's good attention or whether it's negative attention, you now have that attention so that you can share your other message. So I don't think that it's just that they only do this to appeal to Black people and to be offensive to us. I think that it attack this use across the board, and that we're hyper focused on when we see this in a Black light.
Right, and I can see that, but the Black light that they're using for this, right? Because they target Hispanic community by speaking Spanish. They target the Black community with Vax That Ass Up. You know what I mean? Like I think it's a difference, and so that's where the issue comes in at, where it may be offensive, right? So if you're speaking Spanish to a culture where you have a lot of Spanish speakers, some people don't speak English, you're speaking to that person that doesn't speak English. That makes sense. But when you have it where you're targeting with Vax That Ass Up, I mean, Gayle King can speak on it. Candy can speak on it. A lot of celebrities definitely speak on it with their platform. And I do hear them saying, go vote, go vote, go vote, which is very popular come voting time. But I'm saying it's the extra stuff that can sometimes be offensive.
I think that it's the extra stuff that you're hyper focused on, because they have ads out as well, like full blown ads that are for Black people because they Black. If that's the scale that we're using, if a message is being delivered by someone Black, then that's what is for Black people.
Mm-hmm.
They have full ads that don't get quite as much play because again, people aren't hyper focused on it. They put that whatever video out about the Hot Boys, and it got the play because of people being upset about it. People don't realize how it's a creative marketing tactic, and it's gonna get more plays than what you even paid for it, because now every news station is replaying it and talking through how controversial and how negative it was and this, that, and the other.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not one to sit back and, I don't know, I don't give those kinds of things as much power as I guess others may do. So it's not offensive to me. I don't think it's something that I really look at and try to understand why they were trying to appeal to me in that way, because those are not the things that I'm necessarily seeking my information from. I have other channels, other avenues to get the information that I need, to where if they put that out there in that way, I'm not getting offended.
Does it make you question the motive behind it, aside from it just being marketing and getting attention?
No, it doesn't. That's how I look at it.
Okay.
This is a marketing tactic. They did a great job, because guess what? They got everybody talking about it right now,
Mm-hmm.
and they got 100 more spins than what they were initially going to get or what they initially paid for. And you know, that's what they do it for. So I don't know. I guess that's just my perspective and my outlook on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a little bit different than you guys.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Rashaad?
Yes. My only thoughts is that, like Iris was mentioning, there's different tactics to get more voters out there to try to resonate or have what's it called? I'm thinking not resonate. Trying to find some common ground, right, with more voters to go out there and vote.
Okay. Well, that's a good perspective. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. I want to thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for a great discussion.
Great discussion.
Rashaad,
Thanks for having
anytime.
Anytime.
Perfect. Thank you. So that was Rashaad and Iris. And thank you for listening.
And as always, mental health is real and self-care is important. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.